You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You feel like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much. Good morning from Yummy Bay TV, sending loads of love to you as usual. I'm hearing that Dodger, the interview with Dodger's gone up well over there, isn't it? Because it was at full pelt in true Uncle Yummy's fashion, you would notice. Many of my beloved followers and friends, really, will notice Uncle Yummy was 2 weeks clean into that, so the energy was still a bit high, still a bit gas now as the days go on, but it starts to level out, Glyn, like we knew it always would. Now, Mark Chapman, quite rightly, clever boy you are. That's the kind of thing Barry Chapman would have said, you know, Mark, from Manchester. He quite rightly says 80% psychology and 20% ability. In the category A's with some of those big names. Using me, you got many men to choose on. You got many bad man killers more than me around you. You could get them quite easily, pay them off, and they'll go and do the job for you. You come for Uncle Yummy. We ask ourselves why. We know that I wasn't really the hardest. What did they all see on these certain days? What does that 80% psychology mean and 20% ability? Uncle Yummy rightly points to these set of skills. And it's very difficult to do when you're throwing this card in, you've got the full deck of cards of the contract, the body language and that kind of stuff. How do you get it right on big moments? How do you know? Gordon Bennett, I don't know how either. I got lucky sometimes, you know, because sometimes you could act it out, you can turn up and do all the body language you want. Remember, it can still go wrong. You might still have to pull out a weapon because we knew that I was a people pleaser. We don't play it down. We know that if there's certain big figures there, that if I've got to do the job for them, I will. Because I don't want them leaving. Plus, you know, the ones that are looking after me, where I'm not so much in love with, but there's ones that I really love, that if they say someone's got to go, I've got to do it. They've done 100 things for me bigger than what I'm going to do on that one moment. So, you know, deep down, we know it can go badly wrong, and certain days it did. But I'm going to draw on some events now so that we get the picture and we understand fully what it is. Start with Kenneth Noy, right? Was Uncle Ken to me at that time. Now, we're in one of the caves, right? Kenny's there, and he wakes up in the morning and he says to me, Yummy, you're in education this morning, yeah? I said to him, yeah, Ken. He goes, listen, I'm not sure if I'm going to need you, but I'm going to need you to stand, be there when I give you the okay, when we're down there, to walk near me or behind me, right? This scenario here, right, I think I've told you little bits and bobs before. Now let's talk about Kenny, this and that kind of stuff. Kenny is thinking, or has got knowledge, that this geezer, right, was saying things behind his back. So he's got information from probably a year or two before this, and it's been on his brain. The geezer now turns up in the category A's, right? So we go to education. Straight away, we go down there. We can't see nothing straight away. You've got to go into your classrooms, blah, 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 blah. Break time comes for about 10:15 or something like that. So I come out of he's not in my classroom. I come out of my classroom, he comes out of his. He takes a left and a right, and he goes into the computer room where he's just hanging about outside. The geezer comes out. They immediately walk straight up to each other. So whatever's going on, they must have some knowledge prior to each other, mix-ups, that kind of stuff. I know the geezer. Oh, God, mate. So they know what I'm there for. Psychological move straight away. Because the person that you're going to confront, Kenneth, I've done things for around those lot as well. So they know what I'm doing there. You know what I mean? So I can't look at him. I do this. Look, Kenny puts it to him. Did you say that I was blah, 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 right? So I look at the geezer. I put my head down like that. But really what I was saying to him, and I was doing that, like, I'm just thinking, because I'm not talking to you, because you know, and I know that I'm here, because if anything goes on, I'm going to have to move straight to you because of Kenny. You know what I mean? Business in that kind of way. I don't mean it, sorry. That's the way that it could go. It could be me and you another time. where I might be standing with you on a different occasion. But I can't look at him because I know if you do get too ratty and it does end up in some kind of fight, I'm gonna have to do the job. Kenny puts it to him. What does he say? He says, no, Kenny, it was the other fella that said it. I didn't put that rumor out. He put it out. Yeah? So Kenny, fine, straight answer after one exchange of sentences, right? So when he's saying that to Kenny, what can Kenny say? Kenny, what do you think Kenny's going to be in his mind? He's thinking, oh, no, what have I got to do? The other fella ain't here now. I've got to wait until I see him to confront him. Lose no sleep on it, right? So nothing can be clarified, nothing can be verified, but the other geezer was smart because he knows that answer there. You can't really, you know what I mean? Unless there's other, you know, unless Kenny's got other, which he didn't really have, other bits of information, blah, blah, blah. So he turned around, we walked away. Kenny said to me, I knew it wouldn't be nothing. I went, oh, all right, Ken. But precautionary, he's got, just in case, again, always planning for the worst case scenario. Second one, John Palmer. We're in Belmarsh, right? The geezer that rode the helicopter out of Gartree, right? £600. John Palmer's doing some business, blah, 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 and the money ain't come through, right? So we go to the gym. I'm walking behind him. He walks up to me. John Palmer, all I want you to do, Yami, is just stand there. Don't go rushing in. In my mind, I'm thinking, you're shook. You're worried, John, because you're there. You pay really, really well. Uncle Yammy's got to think about his dinner and all that kind of stuff. So there's going to be no failures from me on that day, if you get what I mean. So when he's saying that, don't rush in straight away because he knows that I might do a hectic one, a chaotic one like I was back then, and run straight in just to get the job done. So there's no piss-assing about, what did you call me for? All right, just stand there. Again, and the other fella, right? He sees that I'm there and he knows who I am. It's deep in it with the psychology when people know if someone's walking, you're walking with someone and you've got Yami there, it can only mean one or two or three things, you know what I mean? And it all boils down to that you're there as some kind of enforcer or bodyguard to make sure nothing goes wrong on my watch. I used to enjoy these exchanges. How did I get that one right as well? But Andy wasn't having a bar of it that day. He weren't. So it looked like he wanted to say more. But again, seeing me in the background, he's thinking out, oh, well, I'll leave it for another day. I'll get your money if you don't worry about that. Man, give me a few days. And when I walked away, John Palmer, sometimes his personality, he's very, come across dismissive sometimes, you know, but I'm there for the money and I'll do my job, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say that I love Kenneth Noy or John Palmer more than I did Tony Argent and John Gray and El Tell and the long, you know what I mean? Because I would die for those guys. The other scenario, the two hitmen that were always falling out over these years and years and years, don't mind nothing in the end, but I do love, we'll call him Dodger V, right? Imagine, right, I'm in, this is how this thing went, right? Deep, deep, deep stuff. And this is where I know when you're moving really fast now. And you know what I mean? The game is definitely on. Scenarios can just change in one moment in those Cat A's, right? I was in another Cat A, surrounded by the beef that my fella's got with another fella, which I don't mind that other fella really, but you know, I love the other fella more. In that other place I was in, they used to come up to me and say, yeah, but Yami, you're mate, and this and that, and all that kind of stuff. I said, listen, you wasn't there. Don't comment on things that you don't know. But my fella, the one, he's now reached this Cat A, right? And he's with me a couple of years later. This is how it can go, you know. All that talk from that other Cat A has reached back to my fella. So we're on the twos, right? Or we on the ones? No, we're on the twos. We're on the twos, right? Twos or threes, right? We know where we are. It's enclosed, right? So the other fella that was doing the talking to me, Robbie, it was really, I didn't even mind him either, right? He's watching as me and him's on the wing together, right? Me and this fella that was talking about my fella. My fella turns up on my wing now, right? He sees that he turns up I could read him like a book. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, is he onto you? Or am I telling him what you said in the other cat A, right? But he already knew. So I'm talking to my fella. He's watching from over there, the exchange. And I keep looking at him and I know that he's paranoid, right? I could read it a mile off. Dodge says to me, Yami, is that geezer? Because he's been pointed out to me, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, it is Dodge. I mean, what am I going to say? I've got to be honest with the big man. I've got to, man. He's my proper friend, my proper pal. He goes, no, he's got to go, mate. I go, he's got to go. He said, yeah, he's got to go. I got the jug. I start filling up the water. It's nearly bang up, you know, as well. So I'm turning it round, so you know now I'm moving fast. The order's there, mate. You got to go. One of everybody's favourite saying, you got to go. He's got to go. He's got to go. He's watching. He watches me go to the urn, fills up the water. What does he do? I'm walking towards him. He goes that way to the office and dives over the counter. The bell goes, right? Everyone comes out. He disappears. But then you see, in that split second, how the mix-ups can happen when he is saying they said people, a lot of men store information. And remember, I might not know you, but know your name, and someone's going to pull their leg because they're higher up in the ladder than you. You know what I mean? My fella doesn't play about, mate. And for him, again, at that time, I would have died for him. Now, the psychological ploys, we know Yami was a little bastard, really, you know what I mean? We've got to be honest. Pat Tate used to make me laugh, you know, as well. You know what Pat used to come down, Rambo, don't make me laugh. You know what he used to do sometimes? When we couldn't get nothing, though, you know, like if someone would have something there and someone there, but they're playing itty-tighty, they're not letting off or declaring and saying, nah, mate, you have to wait till tomorrow and all that kind of stuff, right? Pat used to come out, right? He says to me, Yami, get down there in the centre of the wing and do that look. Because you know and I know they're going to be worried about what you're thinking. Because they want you to be happy, everything's all right, you've got your bit and all that, but this night we ain't got it. So what he's really saying, Pat, right, is Yummy, there's those two figures to the left and to the right, the twos and the twos, that way we're on the ones. Pat's just leaning over the landing, calling me. So it's all a head game, right? Because he's already asked, they're already playing funny with him, them two. They're watching too, the exchange, and my face is just fixed like. And then I know one of them two are going to call me. How do I know that? I don't even know. It's weird, isn't it? It's just sixth sense and instincts, really. So I'm going to pretend now that I'm in a bad mood and I'm not talking. But I know how they think. Very paranoid people in there with, you know, with the beefs that go on, who's going to get in next, that kind of stuff. So they're leaning over, Yummy! Yeah, what, everything all right? You know what I mean? I've got your attention. Yeah. Other one as well. Yummy. You know what I mean? But really, you lot got stuff on your mind. I'm playing around with it all. Dangerous game, Yummy, man. I don't know how you do it. You lot ask me sometimes, how do you always throw the right cards in? But Pat was just sniggering because 20 minutes later, one of them called me up there and I went into the cell. He goes, yeah, I wasn't Yummy. You know, I've only got this left and that left. It's bad, isn't it, Yummy? But that's how it was. I ain't going to mince around with words. And he took it out, but he didn't take it out for Pat at that time. But he knew whatever he was reading, I was making you think and read the way that me and Pat wanted you to. Do you get what I'm saying? Deep psychology, 80% psychology and Escobar, the psychology of that one. The Yardies have got real serious beef. I loved Esco. Cairo, looked the part, we've talked about him before, right? From the northwest of Stonebridge, that kind of thing. There's serious beef. Now, a yardie called Blue, I'm hearing now, rest in peace, but I rated him pretty highly as well because he was one of the few yardies that could have a right fisticuff as well. Not sure if I'd have won a fisticuff there with him because he's quite strong. But again, he was bad for a lot of people. But for some reason, every time I turned up, he used to go a bit funny. Weird, isn't it? So the beef's on. The other, Blue's over on the other thing. Esco's on my wing. He says, Yami, listen, my man has just dropped in. Muslim service, come down there. Right? So when Muslim services come that day, and you know, I'm not going to do nothing in the mosque because the brothers, you know, we're not going to be disrespectful with God. But I still got to think about, you know, the planning, what's happening, you know what I mean, favours, you know what I mean, favour this one, favour that one. You know, I've got to still look after people. Now, before we went Muslim service, I said to Esco, he was in a hurry to get down there first. I said, hold your horses. I said, wait, let everybody go first. So there's a packed crowd in there, so that we come in near the end, just before the service starts, blah, 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 blah. He goes, yeah, yeah, mate? I said, yes, leave it to me. Well, I don't know how to work this one out either. Anyway, we marched down there. So I pushed the door. I had a plan. I said, Jamie, walk in there forcefully. You're with Esco. They're all going to know over there that he's called you down as a bodyguard. And then Forsyth, if it goes wrong, you're going to do the job, right? So psychology again, I'm making them believe that I am in some kind of way, hoping it puts you off a little bit, also realizing it could still go badly wrong. Esco, we walk to the door, I push it open for so it bangs on the other side, but I walk straight in like that. Esco's there, he's looking over there, Blue. He's got about 4 or 5 brothers around him as well, brothers that I love. And straight away, he starts shouting, yeah, because you know them two were going to clash. They're going to confrontate each other afterwards, probably, more than likely. But they're both brothers now, so it's unlikely that they could. But you never know. I don't know. You know what I mean? People could say one thing and do the other. But I'm there for Esco. It's a job for me. Plus, I loved him. So when I walked in, straight away, Blue, this is Blue. He's got Yami. Yami's got a weapon on him. Yami's got a weapon on him. Shouting like that in the mosque before the service has started, right? Esco, we're walking towards the crowd, right? So all the brothers have started confronting me. He said, yeah, me, you can't do that in here. Do what? What are you talking about? I just walked in. Looking at Blue, I'm thinking, what's your problem with me? Every time you meet me, you think, because you've done things to the other side, the people that I might be close to, so your mind is so fixated. When you go to your bed at night, you're thinking, the one person that might do it for them is Yami, which you probably would have been right, but I knew it wouldn't be no easy thing with that Blue. Trust me, but I love Escobar more, right? So they started, I said, no, I don't know what he's on about, mate. He goes, Yami, your brother now, these two, they can't fight. I goes, cool, if that's how it is, I'm pretty happy with that. But again, psychology, body language, walking in, brilliant, Mark Chapman. Those are 5 of them. I've got more for you lot, right? So coming up, all right, later on, not much more to say. Oh yeah, there's some other funny ones as well. I might come and do the funniest, some of the funny, now I'm in that kind of spirit. But loads of love to you all, right? Sending loads of love.